Turn me up a little bit, or just a little bit more. I got a message that I want to send across the world. Listen, baby.
What's going on, guys? Hope all is well. It's definitely been too long, but I had to give a bit of a testimony here because those in the DMV might know that there was a power outage at BWI Airport, which is one of our regional airports, Baltimore Washington International. There's a power outage at the airport yesterday morning. Now, my wife and I had just flown back from our vacation, and apparently, because I had fallen asleep, but apparently they gave an announcement about an hour before we landed that said there was a power outage at the airport, but luckily they're allowing us to land there. Other planes are being diverted. I didn't hear that message, but apparently that's what was communicated. All I know is that we landed at the airport, and there was an announcement that was made that there was a power outage and that we would have to sit and wait for things to be restored. They figure out, they said there was a lot of planes that were grounded and they were trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure it out. Now, as a bit of background, I am claustrophobic, and my claustrophobia doesn't typically flare up in my day-to-day, but one of the things that triggers it is being on a grounded airplane, because I've had to fly a lot, and being on a grounded airplane, I have no problem when it's in the air. I have no problem taxiing in the runway. I don't flip out over turbulence or anything like that. It's just being on a grounded airplane. There's something about being on a grounded airplane. Similarly, I don't like being on subway. So I don't like take the subway or the metro because I don't like being underground in a confined space. I have heard stories of people being in situations like this for long periods of time. And in the event that there's a slight delay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, one of the things I think about is people have done this for significantly longer periods of time than I'm probably going to. I don't think you're going to be here for 2 hours, so try and use other people's strength as your strength, and you'll be okay for the 10 or 20 or 15 minutes, however long it ends up being that you're delayed. Not to go too far afield, but I believe this actually goes back to the earliest time I remember having this issue. I remember being some friends of the family I was being babysat by friends of the family, and we were playing in the basement, and they had one of these beds where it had a skirt underneath and you could slide under the bed. I think we were playing hide and seek or something, and I had gone under the bed to hide, and I heard my mother calling me from the stairs because she had just arrived to pick me up, and they played a trick on me. They both blocked the exit so that I was in the dark and I couldn't get out to my mother. And I had what I know now to be a panic attack, but I didn't know what was happening to me at the time. I was probably like 5, maybe 5, 6, something like that. All I know is that I just had this moment where I felt like I was never going to get out from there, and I was never going to see my mother again. And it was this, things went from 0 to 100 so fast. I don't even know how long I was under there, but that's the first time that it probably wasn't even 60 seconds. I can't imagine it was much longer than that. But that's the first time I remember this happening to me, but it's happened a number of times since. And I'm very grateful that, there hasn't been, fallout from it other than a bunch of anxiety that I have to deal with. And at one point, I think there's also like another through line with my dad, where like I was going to, before my dad passed, he had a stroke, and I was on my way down to go see him, and the plane got grounded, and I was like trying to deal with this anxiety, but also like angry that I couldn't get to my dad. And that's where the plane aspect of it started. Okay. I've always had this claustrophobia, but the plane aspect of it started when I was unable to go see my dad. He had been in the hospital, and I was supposed to go see him on a particular day. And I had just come back from a work trip, and he was like, take your time, just leave tomorrow. And he had a stroke that night. And so I didn't find out until the next morning when I was on my way to the airport. And I don't remember exactly, it was a mechanical issue or something. That plane got grounded. After that, I've had the issue specifically on planes. So that was 2017, 8 years ago. I haven't taken a ton of flights because I took the gig here working in news. Before, I was a correspondent, so I was flying all the time before that. I haven't taken a ton of flights since then, but I've taken a significant number, and each time I have to prepare myself for what may occur, right? I ended up in this situation yesterday with this open-ended delay being on a plane. And it goes, we know it's going to be significant. I went on my phone and looked up what was going on, and I saw that everything was at a freeze while they figure this out. And my anxiety got kicked up again. And I realized, okay, let me put that away. That's not helpful. And in those moments, like I try and distract myself, put on a movie, listen to music. It's hard to focus on anything other than the object of my anxiety. So I typically don't like to watch anything. Like I can't focus on this movie. I'm preoccupied with this. So I kind of just sit, and I haven't managed it the best, but I've managed it, right? Fortunately, my wife was there, which was hugely helpful in this moment. Fortunately, we had chosen an aisle seat, which is one of the things that I've done to try and alleviate my symptoms. Fortunately, we did that because there was a conversation about choosing the window so I could sleep better. We chose the aisle seat. That helped a lot. And I tried to keep in mind what therapists have told me over the years, which is, as opposed to blocking out your anxiety and your feelings and emotions, try and sit with them and almost like have a conversation, because, it's been likened to a survival instinct gone awry. This is your brain and your survival instinct trying to protect you from a fear that it senses, but you know that it's not there. So you kind of have to, it's like a faulty alarm. And you kind of just have to sit with that and go into it as much as you can. And I tried to do that. I was actually able to watch movie and part of a movie for a little bit till we hit the hour mark, and I realized I was burning up the battery on my iPad, and I don't know how long we're going to be here. We hit the hour and a half mark. I turn it off. An hour and a half now. We're at an hour and a half now. The thing I tell myself is people have been on planes for like 3+ hours in this situation. You've never been in anything like that. You'll be all right. We're getting there. We get to the 2-hour mark, and I'm like, you passed the test. You passed the test. You've been on the plane for 2 hours, and you've been cool. I'm like, I've been cool. I've been on the plane for 2. I'm good. Like, I'm good. I can get out now. I passed. I did 2 hours. At the 2-hour mark, things got a little bit more hairy for me. Just past that, there was an announcement from the captain that a gate had opened up, and hopefully in the next half hour they're going to make their way to the gate, and we would actually be able to get off the plane. So I sat there hopeful. That meant all the world, because I was having a rough time at that moment in time, but I was hopeful that 20 minutes, and then they fired up the plane and started moving. We went to the gate, turned off the seatbelts. Everybody stood up, happy that we were getting off the plane. And I noticed, because I was looking up at the front of the plane, there was a dude whose head I was watching to see if he moved, to see if they were actually getting off the plane. His head wasn't moving. His head was moving. How long typically is it when you get to the gate before the doors open? Is it like a minute, like 2 minutes? We were there for like 10 minutes. Stood up. And I was like, they really just hit me with that bait and switch. They really, yeah, they did. They got us moving, got us to the gate. Now I bet it's a problem with the door now. We got this problem with it, because that's happened to me too. It's a problem with the door. I had a plane wait for like 40, 45 minutes because it was a problem with the door. We couldn't get off, right? But that door did open up, and we got off that plane. And in the moment we got off that plane, we had sat on the runway for 2 hours and 45 minutes, something like that. 2 hours, 40 minutes, 2:45. I tell myself that sitting on a plane for 3 hours, like, people have done that, and I almost did that. In fact, I had half a mind to stay on the plane for 15 minutes so I could hit the 3 hour mark, so I could say I did that. I didn't, but I had half a mind to do that. I just had to give a testimony as somebody that deals with irrational fear. And irrational fear is so hard to share with people because they don't understand what the big deal is. Most people are scared of being in the air in turbulence. Most people are scared of taking off. If they're scared on planes, that would be the issue. Some sort of incident happening in I'm good with all that. It's this weird wrinkle of my claustrophobia that happens on planes. And it sounds silly, as irrational fears do, but I just have to express such gratitude that I was able to work through that yesterday. And I think that I have to give myself some credit for taking care of myself spiritually a little better than I have been in the past. And part of that process is doing more here in this space. So that is also an invitation for me to spend more time here in this space. So in any event, I am back. I am full of gratitude, and I will be posting regularly here now that I am back and full of gratitude. So you can be on the lookout for that. But I appreciate you guys, and I will see you again very soon.
Turn me up a little bit, or just a little bit more. I got a message that I want to send across the world. Listen, baby.